You are now tuned into Armor Up Athletics, hosted by Phillip, Leviner, and Matt Quinn.
Welcome back to Armor Up Athletics. This is episode 8, and today's theme is Make a Difference. My name is Matt Quinn, joined as always by Phillip Leviner.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
How you been this week, Phillip?
Oh, it's good. What is it? Is it just Monday?
Well, by the time this airs, you should be halfway through the week, and you'll be at hump day.
Oh man, been a long Monday. Had a long weekend too, though. We did some deep sea fishing, so been really busy the last couple of days. So ready to settle down and talk some Jesus and sports.
Ready to make a
forward to that
difference,
now.
man. Ready to make a difference. Speaking of making a difference, great theme this week. Great title. Phillip and I will be at the golf tournament this Saturday at Green River Country Club to make a difference. Our goal was to go into this and raise some money and use that to help others, to help local sports, youth sports, equipment fees, all kind of stuff that we can do with them with donations for jerseys, things like that. All those different fees and costs that those youth teams accrue. We want to try to help alleviate some of that to the best of our abilities. And that's what we want to do this week with our first fundraiser with our golf tournament over at Green River Country Club. Really excited about that. Looking forward to seeing all the guys that are signed up to play. We want to thank our sponsors for putting in some money on this and raising some money for us. And we're going to use all that money to make a difference in somebody else's life.
Yeah, and the thing is too, I want everybody to understand anybody can make a difference, right? I think a lot of people tend to shy away from things sometimes because they feel like they got to go so big. Me and you jumped into this thing. Obviously, we're big personalities. We like to do things kind of big. So this is the part where we try to give back. But if you're trying to make a difference and you're afraid to get involved, just start with the littlest thing. Just do something out of the kindness of your heart. Give a word of encouragement. Share a post. You never know what the little things making a difference can do for people. I've always been, I think Matt and I are a lot alike in one way where we don't do anything small. We love this stuff. We love doing this. This is something we enjoy. But don't think to get involved and to make a difference that you have to do something on a big scale. It can be something as simple as sharing one of our posts. Again, start small. Whatever your heart tells you to do, whatever God tells you to do, that's making a difference. And that's kind of what this episode hopefully will be about, is encouraging you to make a difference in other people's lives, even at the smallest grain of seed level. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you clarified that, because I don't want people to think that they have to make a difference financially. Obviously, some of us are blessed and able to do that. Some of our sponsors were able to do that for us and for our tournament and to help give back to others. But it doesn't have to be a financial commitment to make a difference. It can be as little as a volunteering.
Right.
Going to help with an FCA chapter or going to Fields of Faith like we did last week. Just little things like that can make a difference in somebody's life. And we don't want to focus on the financial aspect of it. Obviously, that's what we're doing with the golf tournament, is going to be a financial make a difference. But that's not what it's all about. Some of us don't have the means or the money to do that, and that's okay. But it could be as simple as sharing a good verse with somebody in the morning through a text message, or sharing a video or a song like we do in our multiple group chats now that we've got some armor heads. Me and Phillip have armor heads that we share verses and songs and words of encouragement with every day. So it could be something as little as that, and it doesn't have to be some big financial gift.
No, a simple gesture. A lot of nursing homes around here you can go by and visit with people, read scripture too. There's a lot of things you can do before you get to that donation and financial commitment phase, if you even want to go in that direction. There's a lot of things you can do that doesn't cost a dime, like one of our shows. Be kind. Get out there and be kind to somebody and make a difference. Again, positivity makes a difference. Encouragement makes a difference. People need to be encouraged. People have bad days, tough days. They won't tell you they need it, but I've had people just walk up to me sometimes at the gas station and say, "Good morning, how you doing?" And just kind of catches me off guard, and it's like, "Hey man, that was pretty cool. They spoke to me." So A lot of ways to make a difference, man. A lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure. So let's jump right into this. Make a difference. You know, if you're new to Armor Up Athletics, we do always try to tie in some sports related themes with our devotions. So this week, with Make a Difference in sports, every player matters. In life, every person matters. But with our sports connection, the starter, the backup, the scout team player, the fifth string guy that just gets the practice reps, they all play a role and a crucial role, a pivotal role on your team. We talk about this with our players all the time. If you're a scout team player, be the best scout team player you can be so that you can help us and get prepared to win on a Friday night. You may not be in there and getting a ton of reps on a Friday, but you could be preparing our starting offense or preparing our starting defense to see the plays that they're going to see on Friday. So God didn't create us just to sit on the sidelines.
Yeah, and again, if you talk about one of the biggest impacts of a bench player, watch the movie Rudy, right? There's always a spot for somebody, and everybody wins at the end of the day. And you're talking about from equipment managers to sideline personnel to anybody involved. You got to prepare and be ready, and everything that everybody does works together for the glory of winning, and hopefully for the glory of God. If you're putting that in it, we would encourage you to put that in it. But the end of the day, man, you just got to be ready to do your part
Yeah.
when the time's called.
Yep. God didn't create us to sit on the sidelines. He designed us to make a difference in the world around us, man. I want you guys to think about your favorite team. Okay, Phillip, I know you're thinking about the Florida Gators right now. Every championship run has those players who step up and make a difference. They have those staff members that step up and make a difference. Maybe it's a lineman who makes a big block. Those linemen don't get enough credit for what they do. Maybe it's a teammate who fires up the locker room with encouragement, a teammate on the sidelines that's cheering on his buddies as they go out and make plays, and he keeps the energy high. Maybe it's a role player who comes off the bench and changes the momentum on a special teams play. Making a difference is not about just being the star. It's about doing your part faithfully, consistently, and for the good of the team. When we look at our life, what can we do to make a difference for God's team? What can we do to shine a light on Him, to shine a light on His mercy, His grace through our actions? Can we be a good teammate for God's team?
And one thing about making a difference on a team and in life, the first thing to me, and this is usually simply just showing up, right? Whether you want to be there or not, whether you didn't want to go that day or not, show up. Just put your soul into it. Physically show up with the soles of your feet, and then the heart, mind, and soul will follow, right? You get there and you make that commitment and show up. It shows others that you're ready to do whatever it takes. Make it a habit to respect everyone, man. That should come second nature to us. We've lost that ability to respect people. I think making a difference in yourself, whether it's an inward difference, it has a rippling effect to your outward, response. If you respect yourself first, you're going to respect other people, and you got to. And one of the biggest things that I don't think we do enough of, smile. Just smile, man. Just that can make a difference to people. If you walk out of the house and you're angry and it's showing all over your face, and you're going to put that wall up that could not be there, and you can interact with somebody and have a great day, man. And the one it's hard to do. It really is, because sometimes, my wife tells me I have this look on my face like I just want to kill somebody. Sometimes I don't know I'm doing it, so I'm trying to get myself to smile more. And again, be kind to others. You got to operate from a place of love, man. You really do. You got to center yourself. And it's tough. I think there's three poisons out there that we have to really be aware of, which is greed, anger, and ignorance. But don't deny their existence, but turn them around into something like generosity, compassion, and wisdom.
Yeah.
If you do that, you're going to figure it out. And it's a day by day grind. That's why we practice every day, right? That's why you guys show up and practice to perfect what we're trying to do. Chase perfection. You may not achieve it, but you need to be chasing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as we talk about making a difference, we'll jump into sharing our verses. My verse this week, 1 Peter 4:10. each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. For me, that means every athlete has a role, every person has a role, every believer has a gift. Whatever your gift is, use that gift to serve others. Use that gift to make a difference, not for our glory, not for Matt, not for Phillip, not for Armor Up Athletics, but for God's kingdom. And that's really what it's all about for me. I think everybody has a gift, depending on how they use it. They can use it for good, they can use it for bad. How do we use our gift? Are we going to use it for good or are we going to waste it? And I think that's the biggest thing that I could take from my verse. And if I can use my abilities to make graphics, to edit videos, to do things that we're doing through this to spread God's word, then I want to use it to the best of my abilities. So that's my piece. Phillip, go ahead with your verse.
So mine this week is a little long, but it came to me when we started talking about making a difference. It's Matthew 5 verses 13 through 16. It talks about salt and light. You're the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You're the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they should put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Obviously, we want to be an example for God, right? We want to be a light for God. I think you got to bear fruit for God. Uh, you know, this statement may be critical, but I think if you're going to call yourself a Christian and you're going to put yourself out there, then you need to be an example. You need to be a light. That's not to say you can't have fault. That's not to say you can't, you're not going to be perfect, but I think you need to wake up every day and we need to try to achieve godliness. We need to try to put it out there that we are Christ-like, and we need to make a difference for God. I mean, I think if we're not going to make a difference for God, then why are we serving God, right? And again, that may be controversial with some people, but I think as we move forward in this, I think we need to understand what we're trying to do is get soldiers for God, get people that aren't scared to talk about God, get people that aren't afraid to say his name. And again, the 16th verse, in the same way, let your light shine before others. That says it all to me, man.
Yeah, for sure. We can make a difference in various ways. And, let your light shine. I remember a song when I was about her age, the one down here making her first appearance. That's Marley, my youngest daughter. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And you're a better singer than me, so you could probably do the concert later. But I do remember that from my days in church, and never really understood what it meant at that age. I'm like, oh, okay, we got a light, let's turn it on. And my parents were mad about the power bill, but it really is a light for Jesus and a light for God's kingdom that we have grown into. We have got to the point now with Armor Up Athletics, and Phillip and I are willing to let our light shine and try to make a difference.
Yeah, and a couple things that I'd like to put out there for the Christian athlete. Since we're a Christian athlete-based program, I know it's hard for these teenagers these days, man, to be grinding at practice and competing and, and not get angry and upset and still try to have, faith for God. I think the biggest thing for them, a couple things I got here, is lead with integrity and humility. Athletes should lead their teams with the integrity and humility regardless of the outcome of the game, right? You compete for the time that's on the scoreboard, and when you're done, you accept what happened and you lead your team to handle it with humility and grace. Encourage others. That's something we can always do. Up or down, I think good leaders, good Christians, good athletes will keep encouraging people throughout the game, however the game's going. Respond gracefully to adversity, right? That's huge to me. I teach my kids about, in the face of challenges, athletes should respond with grace and perseverance, demonstrating that faith can overcome adversity. Again, not saying you're not going to get upset and feel that fire and that competition, but at the same time, you got to go with it. And so those things, and don't be ashamed to share your faith. I think any time's a good time to share your faith. If you get an opportunity that door presents itself, open it and share your faith.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing that I've stepped into. We're in episode 8 now, and early August when we first met at Magnolia and had breakfast together, and this idea came to us. This was something that I was kind of nervous about, being that light. And as I started studying more and reading more and getting in my Bible a lot more than I ever had been, I started seeing these messages. Hey, share your faith, be a difference maker, be the light, right? And so I'm now comfortable being able to do this kind of stuff. And is it the best way? We're not preachers. We said that in our very first episode. We're not professional podcasters. We got kids popping up in the screen. We do all these things, but we can still make a difference, right? We can still find a way.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, Matt, because again, I think we both have made a difference for the other side. I mean, I said that early on in our some of our earlier episodes, how I was the number one draft pick for the Devil for the longest time, and I hit the transfer portal, right? Um, has things gotten easier for me? I don't think life has. I know dealing with life has gotten easier. The way I deal with things has gotten easier. Being able to get on my knees and humble myself and pray to God about situations and getting the right answer has gotten easier. I don't lash out. I don't react, as quickly as I used to, putting God in it first. But you're right, man. Believer or non-believer, it takes nothing to be kind to somebody. It really does. It takes nothing to be kind. And if the world would put that whole persona out there, that whole kindness into the world, imagine what kind of place we could be. I mean, I can't even turn on the news anymore. It's just yeah, from everybody. The world is just nothing but a big argument. And we have lost the ability to respect each other, to be kind to each other. And one more thing that I wanted to put out there too. I'm not sure if you saw this, Matt. Chesterfield County had another child shot and killed over the weekend. A 9-year-old little boy was tragically shot and killed in Pageland. And the violence, the children that are catching this heat in between whatever's going on. I mean, we've charged, I think, 7 juveniles and 4 adults in this. I don't even understand it. I want to send a lot of love and prayers again to the Pageland community, to that family of that child. I mean, again, we've lost to how to respect each other, how to be kind to each other. Everybody's so quick to violence and anger. And I really believe a lot of this is put out there by the leadership of our country. And I'm not getting political, and I'm talking about both sides. I don't care where you stand. Everybody's arguing, and we need to stop, and we need to be kind and love each other and respect each other wherever you stand, whatever you believe in life. I want you to come to know Christ. I do. That's where I stand. But if you don't want to know him, we can still be okay, and we got to really remember that, man. But I did want to send some love and prayers to them. And there was a lot of things happened over the weekend with the Southport shooting up there at the restaurant, the church in Michigan where the 2 people were killed. So a lot going on in the world that needs prayer, but definitely wanted to give another big love and prayer to the Pageland community as they deal with another tragedy up there.
Yeah, absolutely sad to see that happen again in that community. Hopefully we can find some difference makers within our communities that are going to help with these situations. Locker room challenge, Phillip. Locker room challenge. We're going to make it a staple. It's going to be a weekly thing. I think everybody could probably guess what this locker room challenge is going to be for making a difference here.
Difference.
Yeah, make a difference. I'm going to give you some examples in case you don't know where you could fit in and how you can make a difference. Very simple. Number one, you could encourage a teammate or a coworker when they're struggling. Just simply encourage them. Hey, buddy, you got this. We can do this. One more rep. Hey, man, you got one more spreadsheet to do at work. I don't know where you work, but, whatever it is. It could be encouraging a teammate or a coworker. It could be serving someone without expecting anything back. Maybe it's, you pick up coffee in the morning and take it to a coworker, take it to a teacher, take it to a teammate, take a Gatorade to a teammate. Don't take coffee to your teammates. We need to stay hydrated. Stand for what's right, even when no one else does. That's an easy way for you to be a difference maker in your community, in your jobs, in your schools, wherever you may be on a day-to-day basis. And then the last one, you could share your faith boldly, even if it feels uncomfortable. Even if you don't exactly know how to verbalize it. Like we don't, me and Phillip don't know. Like we do the best we can, and we sometimes we ramble and sometimes we stutter, and it's fine. It is what it is. We're going to share our faith boldly, even when it feels uncomfortable, and even when I don't know the exact perfect words to tell you in your situations. But small actions, guys, small actions can have an eternal impact.
And I can tell you this, man, regardless of whatever I do in life, I know now what my purpose is, and it's to make a difference in people's lives. That's my purpose. It's kind of always been in my DNA from being a paramedic and things like that. But now with God in my heart, I know that it is my purpose. And I don't know what my future holds, but I know who holds my future. And I'm going to be speaking at a church this Sunday, giving my testimony for the first time. And I've prayed about this, Matt. It's been really, really, I told you it's been kind of difficult to talk about some things in my past and the way I was. But again, God is really worked on me, and my purpose is to make a difference. And if I can tell my story and it makes a difference in one person's life, which I know some of it has, because again, we talk about people that we share quotes with, and I have people that reach out to me through Messenger and really about the alcohol abuse and the substance abuse, trying to, talk them through whatever I can to assist them. It's a real thing. It had me for 30 plus years, and I never realized it. I thought I had a handle on it. I thought I had it under control. So, my purpose for the rest of my life, as long as I'm living and breathing, is to make a difference for somebody and to help somebody.
Yeah. Again, make a difference,
So I
guys.
accept your challenge.
Yes, make a difference. And I talk about this with my team every single year, whether it's head coach from coordinators to now I'm a coordinator again. But I tell them to think about a play. This play could be the one that changes the game, whether it be a big home run shot or throwing a deep post, or whether it be a jet sweep or whatever it is. If you knew beyond a doubt that that play was going to be the one that changed the game and won us the football game, how much effort would you give on that play? And naturally, all of them say, well, if I knew it was the game winner, coach, I would give all I had. I said, well, why not do that every single play? We don't
Every
know.
play.
We don't know when those big plays are going to happen. We don't know when we're
Right.
going to have a huge impact on somebody's life. We don't know that the guy that we just walked past at the gas station may be going home with plans to commit suicide. We don't know what's going
That's
on.
right.
And we can make a difference without even knowing that we've made a difference. So I tell our players that, and I think it's a way to get them to play harder. Obviously, I want them guys to go hard every single play. But when we apply it to our life, like, what could happen if I just shared one verse, or I had one shirt on that had a Bible verse on it and I walk past somebody? Maybe they look up that verse. Maybe it changes their life. We don't know what's going to happen. So one kind word, one prayer, one act of faith may be able to change somebody's life.
And how many times have you, and this goes out to our listeners too, how many times have you wanted to make a difference and you didn't? Right? You kind of hesitated, or you didn't go full on every play and every moment in life. And I think it relates back a lot, because you can look at different teams throughout the year. And yes, I'll use Florida in the South Florida game. Did we go all out in that game? No, we did not. We there was many plays that could have went harder, but I think they thought they were just going to go in and beat that team. Just like sometimes we go out and we think it's just going to be another day, and we don't have to be fully prepared. But you never know what you're going to encounter or who you're going to encounter, or like you said, what state of mind that person might have been, that you may have an opportunity to literally change the course of their life and you won't even know it. So you have to take advantage of every moment that you have to make a difference. And that's why that topic came up with me and you this week. And I think it's fitting for where we're at. We talk about this every week, of where the state of the world, right? And we have to do our part. You have to do your part as a human being to spread that kindness and make a difference, and
Yeah.
little things lead to big things.
And I'll tell a quick story that not to glorify me or anything, but just as far as making a difference. I was picking up lunch one day last week, and there was a guy that came up to me, said, "Hey, excuse me, man, can you get me something to eat?" And I didn't have any cash on me, so I said, "Man, I don't have any cash. I'm sorry." Kind of went to brush it off, and then I walked down about 3 steps past and went down the aisle, and something just hit me, and I turned around and I said, "Hey, man, get your plate and meet me at the cash register. If you want food, I'll buy your lunch." So I didn't expect it. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I went and got my things in the grocery store that I needed. He come back around and he met me in line with a plate of food. Got him a pork chop plate with 2 sides and a drink, and he was eating good. But and then we got to talking, standing there in line, and I said, "Hey, where you live?" And he told me he lived near some church back here in town. And I said, "Oh, okay. Is that where you go to church?" He said, "I used to. I ain't been in a while." And I said, "Well, hey, let me tell you something, buddy. I'll buy your lunch today if you promise me you're going to go to church on Sunday." And he said, "Yes, sir, I'll do that. I'll do that." And he said, "Yes, sir," to me, and he's maybe 15, 20 years older than me. I don't know if he went to church. That's between him and God. But I felt like I could make a difference. Obviously, with nutritionally, he wanted some food, so he got him a good plate. But I felt like I could make a small difference in maybe having him think a little bit about God and about church. And maybe he did go to church. I pray that he did. But I think just little things like that we can do to make a difference and change somebody's life. I don't know what he was going through. We didn't get into too many details, but who knows if that was the last meal he's had since then. We don't know. Maybe I made a difference in his life, and hopefully I did spiritually and nutritionally.
And yeah, it's a great point, man, because God has hit me sometimes where I don't have what a lot of people think I have, right? I have 5 kids to support. We play a lot of sports, and it takes a lot to just make my house function from week to week. And God will hit me sometimes on a non-pay week where I really don't. Hey, just not too long ago, a guy couldn't get his debit card to work at the gas pump. I paid for his gas. I didn't really want to spend $30 on this man's gas, and I was like, "Are you sure? Right now, it's a non-pay week, bro. You know." But when you feel that moment and that tug, you got to respond to it, and lo and behold, you do that, and then literally, I was just thinking about this before I got on. In my PayPal, something I got an email, and I paid $35 for that man's gas 3 weeks ago. PayPal just refunded me something I don't know what it was for $36.16. Have no idea where it came from, what it is. So you humble yourself, you listen to God's word, and there's a reason that He does what He does. I was talking about this today, um, with a complete stranger. You know, just it just came up about religion, and I was like, first thing I wanted to say at this new job was, yes, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian, and we just got to talking, and it's like, how did that even come up? And the next thing you know, we're talking about where he went to church, where I go to church, and what we're doing, and how God's good, and how God moves in your life, and it just turned into a complete conversation where now 3 or 4 people over here is listening, and now they're saying, it just takes one person to open that door and stand for God, and people will come, man. I think a lot of people want to talk about it. They just, for some reason whatsoever, it's like a taboo topic sometimes, and I don't understand that, because God's been so good to me, and been so gracious with me, and extended me so much gratitude through my life. I don't have a choice but to thank God for everything He's done for me. Do I have down days? Of course, man. I'm still human. I still get depressed from time to time. I was texting you today. I was ready to quit. I was there for 2 hours and ready to quit. So I'm still a work in progress. But as far as being thankful and my purpose to make a difference in other people's lives, I think that'll always be in me. That'll always be a factor in my life. Planning events that's positive for the community, helping our youth, because they are the future. I think it's just what we need to do, and I know I don't have to do it by myself, but if I did, I would.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that really want to help, that want to make a difference. We just encourage you just to do it, man. If you get
Yeah.
that tug, go for it. If you want to buy somebody a piece of candy, go for it. If you want to tell somebody have a great day, go for it. Whatever you feel like you need to do. There's nothing too small, and there's nothing too big. It's whatever you feel like you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And when we first started this thing, Philip, we mentioned it on episode one, like if we could make a difference in one person's life, then our job with Armor Up Athletics was complete. And I'm proud to say that, just with our recent hat giveaway that we did, congrats to Brian B-Dub Watson
Yep.
there for winning our hat. We had 30 something shares and multiple comments and people putting it on their story and on their page. And obviously it's working. We are making a difference. My sister, I didn't even know my sister was watching the show, listening to the show. I get home, got this new hat in the mail. She had sent it to me. So obviously I've made a difference and she's at least listened and knew what the show was called. So shout out to Emily for the hat that I'm rocking
That's
tonight as
awesome.
well.
Well, like you said, man, at the end of the day, we wanted to touch one person, and not to brag at all, but because this is strictly God doing this. If that was the mission, we could retire. Because I
Absolutely.
feel like the amount of feedback that I get from text and messages and things like that, God is moving here, and God is moving in the world. Believe it or not, I think this is a good time. If you were kind of suspect to be a Christian, get on board. The train's good and it's moving in a good direction. But again, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and listening, for sharing that over 30 something shares.
I know a
Um,
lot of people shared it because they, wanted some free gear, and that's cool. That's fine. But they don't know what difference they might have made on somebody's timeline that went in and like read what is Ephesians 6:11. It's kind of like when Tim Tebow put the verses under his eyes and people went on Google and went crazy Googling John 3:16. We don't know what type of impact we can have and what type of difference we can make with little things. And the song that you went off on one of your Facebook lives, if I'm the only Bible you'll ever read, like I listened to that this week. It's been on repeat in my truck now because I'm addicted to that song now. But great song. But if we are the only Bible that people get, if the Facebook post, if the clips or the graphics or whatever is the only Bible that people see, I want it to be a difference maker in somebody's life, and people sharing, people commenting, people putting it on their stories. All those things can make a huge difference. So just like Philip said, we thank you for that. It's not for us, but we thank you for spreading God's word, for being bold in your faith and sharing your faith by sharing those posts.
Man, how awesome is it to be able to give back and make a difference, man? That's to me, I don't know that there's any greater, I don't want to really say calling, but purpose, I guess, for me. Again, I've always kind of been involved in careers that were helping people from the Coast Guard to the paramedics, to safety. But this is just to be able to plant that seed and let it take root in my own heart and let it continue to grow and be able to teach my kids to do good and to be able to be in a position to give back. And again, we're not talking about money and financial. We're talking about just making a difference in the way you live your life and be an example to other people, man. So, but yeah, that song hit me really, really hard. You know, I've never really thought about it because I grew up in church. My parents had me there Sunday night, and Wednesday. We were there. But there's people that have grown up that don't know what a Bible is, has never been to a church. So we may be the only Bible that they see. And we need to reflect that in a positive manner.
We interrupt this devotion for a special guest. Welcome, Kinard, to Armor Up Athletics.
And now we are joined by a very special guest, Kinard Durrah. Kinard, I want you to introduce yourself, give your many titles that you have. I mean, I know them. Me and you go way back to
Yes, sir.
871 in Bowling Springs, South Carolina. Um,
Absolutely.
but I cannot be more proud of what you're doing right now and the things that you're doing. So just let everybody know kind of what that is.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. And yeah, we do go way back. So, but yeah, currently right now, so I work at Cannons Elementary in Spartanburg District 3. I'm the behavioral interventionist at Cannons. And then I coach high school football at Broome High School. And I coach girls basketball, JV, and I coach track. And then over the summer, I was hired as the youth minister at First Baptist Cowpens. So yeah, staying busy, brother. Staying busy.
Every time you tell me what you're doing, it gives me chills because like Phillip's told a lot of his stories from his past, and me and you go way back, and we've got some things I'm not so proud of. But
Yeah,
man, one
right.
thing I will say through all of it, man, you've been there for me. You've been my brother through every bit of it, and now that we are
Yes,
on
sir.
a totally different life path than where we were, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Just so excited for what you're doing and how God's using you. So tonight's episode was titled "Make a Difference."
right.
Obviously, in your position, you've made a difference in various ways through sports, through behavior intervention, through your youth ministry. But kind of lay out some of your highlights and some of your favorites there for us.
Oh man. So making that difference, this, and now your audience is gonna know this. So I dealt with something real tragic. My baby brother, I lost him to suicide, and he was 16 years old, and that kind of changed a lot for me. And I'm just grateful and thankful that the Lord has put me in a position where I'm in the lives of 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and I'm able to help make that difference. So every opportunity I get, I don't take it for granted. Um, I try to make a difference in each and every one of the kids' lives that I'm involved with, and that's across the board. And what happened with my little brother, that kind of nails it all home for me. When I get to the house at night, and you're thinking over your day, you're thinking back through little stuff that happened. I think he's proud of it. So every day I'm trying to make that change. Every day I'm trying to be that difference. And for me, I just keep him in my mind, I keep him in my heart, and I try to live for him. So any difference I can make in these kids' lives, that's what I'm gonna do.
Man, I love that. Was not expecting that story to come out. Me and you have
Yeah,
talked about
I
that
know, I know.
numerous times, man. But I thank you for your courage to just step out and share a little bit about that and how you're trying to impact young people that are the same age that your brother was at that time.
It's actually a new thing for me because this, like, dealing with it. My way of dealing with it was to not deal with, and it was like the Lord just kept putting me in positions where it's like, why am I in this position? And then it clicked. It's like, this is why you're here. So, like I said, just trying not to take it for granted. We also do at Kansas Elementary School, we do a program called BAM, which is Be a Man. And I was able to break through that barrier of my own last year and come out and say that in front of my group of kids. And these are elementary school kids. And it was just on my heart heavy that day to say it. And I was holding back, holding back, holding back. And I was able to come out and just say it to them. And a couple of them, they shed tears a little bit. And one kid told me, he had dealt with that too. And that's all it took. Hearing a kid, elementary age kid tell you, hey, I had to deal with that. And now me and him have bonded over something that, nobody wants to bond over. But if I hadn't had the ability to speak that, he may have known that we had that connection. So he leans on me heavy, I lean on him heavy. And that's kind of where I'm at with that right now. So
Man, so proud of you for making a difference. That is amazing.
thank you.
We talked about on our show, like when we started this deal, if we could make a difference in one person's life, just one,
Mhm.
then we would be excited with where we're at. Now we are at, over 100,000 views through our 8
Love it.
episodes now, and it's been amazing. And it's not us; it's obviously it's God's timing, and He's putting the words
Yep.
in our mouths and verses that we like to share and all that. So me and you texted, and we've shared songs and scripture, but give us one of your favorite songs that you've been on right now.
And there's a cat right now, Josiah Quinn. And so we took a group of 25 kids up to Dollywood for our youth retreat this year. Myself and Pastor Nathan Dye, he's the pastor, lead pastor at First Baptist. Um, And on the ride up, me and him, we took turns driving the van, and he was playing this guy named Josiah Quinn, and he played a song called Dusty Bibles. And that song was just playing in my head the whole trip. And then on the way back down the mountain, he played a song called Fishes and Loaves by Josiah Quinn. And man, it put some stuff in perspective. This guy, he ministers through his music. And you listen to it, and if you weren't like listening, you would think it's something you're just gonna hear on the radio. But there's a message in all of his music. So Josiah Quinn, Dusty Bibles, Fishes and Loaves, and my favorite right now is Two Wooden Beams. Two Wooden Beams. I think that's one I sent you the other night. That one gets pretty deep. That one's pretty good. So those three right there, man, that'll get you going. And then his catalog is full of great music. So Josiah Quinn.
Yeah, keep sharing any music, man. You're the music guy. You've been known as the music guy since I met you.
Come on, man.
we are always, me and Phillip, we're always looking for praise and worship music to add to the playlist, man. And
Yes.
and Dusty Bibles I've definitely fallen in love with that song for sure. Phillip, what you got, buddy?
Again, nice to meet you, Kinard, man. I've heard a lot about you. You know, your story just it caught me off guard too. That's amazing what you're doing. I can commend you for that. Number one, to stand on your faith, this day and time stuff, but to minister to our youth, to this going to take our nation to the next level is great.
Right.
One thing I will tell you about Broome that I do know: in 2004, my Sherrall Braves faced them in the state championship.
Whoa.
We lost. Y'all beat us. Y'all got us. 44. We were down 28-7 at the half. We did make a valiant effort to come back, but it was a great game. So I do know Broome High School, good pedigree there, good rich program.
Yes,
so we wish you all the best coaching. I don't have a whole lot, man. We the title of our show is called "Make a Difference," and you just listed so many ways that you make a difference. What I would kind of ask you is, how would you convince others around you to make a difference to someone else? We know what you're doing. We see what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
We love what you're doing. But how do you convince that to keep paying forward to other people?
What I'll say to that is, and it's kind of ironic, I've been, for the last year, this has kind of been what I've been stuck on. And before this, Quinn asked me about, what verse speaks to my life. And this verse speaks to what you just asked me and to what Quinn asked me before the show about what verse has been speaking in my life. And that verse is Matthew 4:19. All right. So he says, "Come follow me." Actually, I'm gonna read 18 as well, just to give some context. So as Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon called Peter and his brother Andrew, and they were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. "Come follow me," Jesus said, "and I will send you out to fish for people." So to answer your question, it's what he called us to do. He called us to be fishers of men, right? So the things that I know, the things that I've lived, the knowledge that I've gained, if I were to just harness it all for myself, it would be for nothing. So it's only right for me to express these things, to get those things out, the hard things, the great things, the not so good things, all of it. We have to bear that. We have to bear ourselves for people to take us seriously and see us authentically. So when I speak to the kids, I try to instill that in them as well. None of us are perfect. Your story is important. And if you never tell it, then it can never reach the people that it was supposed to reach. And that's your trials, your tribulations, your goods, your bads, your ups, your downs. Put it out there and allow God to let it work. He has a way of bringing people to the things they need in their life. But we have to do our part. And I just try to encourage them to be not timid, because he didn't bless us with timidity. When you feel those nerves stirring up, it's because he's got something coming for you. There's something there, So speak it and stand in it.
Let me tell you how God works and how he comes full circle. And
Yes,
there's a reason that this 10 to 15 minutes had to happen tonight, Matt. And I'm telling you, I got chills on me for what I'm about to say. I've been
Yes, sir.
struggling the last few weeks to tell my story. I've been asked to talk a
Mm.
few places. I lived a tough life that I'm not really proud of.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people know me and they've been asking me to tell my story, and I've been really shy to do it. I got my first speaking event this Sunday, and I've been really nervous till you just said what you just said. It's like a peace
Wow.
came over me
Wow.
when you said that.
Wow.
Everything that I have been afraid of and that I've been scared of just went away when you just said that and that verse. So God is real.
Thank the Lord.
God is good. Kinard, there was a reason that we got on this podcast tonight, man.
Yes,
You
sir.
convinced me. Fishes of men is what I needed to hear. And all
Yes,
I
sir.
can tell you is thank you. I don't have anything else, man. I'm about to stand up and praise Jesus right
Brother,
now. I'm telling you,
I was about to say, let's
that
just
was
give praise
powerful.
to
I
the
got
Lord right
chills in
now.
the arm, man.
Give praise to the Lord, man. It's Him.
It is.
Everything
Wow.
happens in His time. So here we are. Here we
I
are.
love it, man. I
Yeah,
love it. I love it.
we've talked about it before, Kinard, on here. Like we call them in our world, like in our minds, we call them a coincidence, but really it's God. Like there's no such thing
Yes.
as a coincidence. God put those words in your mouth for Phillip and for me and for any other viewers that are dealing with the same things. Like don't be scared, don't be shy. And one of our verses that we shared earlier tonight was be a light,
Mhm.
right? We need to be a light. And
Yes.
we started, I tried to sing This Little Light of Mine from back in the day.
Mhm.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But it's
I
just
got you some
been,
auto tune. We get it right. I
yeah,
got
yeah,
you some
yeah.
auto tune.
Yeah,
He's
we could
waiting on
fix
a
that.
beat to hit Kinard. You know what I'm saying? He's waiting on a beat to go
Yeah.
to.
Oh man,
We'll
but
spend some time on it.
yeah, we'll have to work on it. We'll have to work on it, man. I got a voice that's made for podcasts, not for singing, and that's okay.
There you
That's
go.
That
fine.
man sends me Rain B and Ben Ja, and I'll be sending him Warren Zeters and Chris Stapleton. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Oh,
nice little midpoint right there if we
Hey,
can find it.
Benja's my man now, dude. I
oh
listen to
yeah.
that song every morning. I love
Yeah.
it.
The praise and worship playlist is growing. When I got Philip texting me stuff, Kinard texting me stuff, like the praise and worship list. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't even listen to like the radio anymore, like old playlists that I had.
Man,
Like I don't even get into that because
man.
it changes my mood and it changes like, man, I got to go to work. It's Monday morning. Oh man, here, let me play this real quick. And it just brightens my day immediately, like as I'm driving
It's
my 15 minutes.
it's so ironic that Sunday's sermon, Pastor Nate touched on that exact thing. The things that we take in and put ourselves around, and he kind of touched on the music aspect of it. And he said a stat, and I don't want to mess the stat up, but it was something along the lines of so many percent of people who listen to uplifting praise and worship music, it literally, it scientifically makes you feel less stressed. It eases you, it calms you, And for me, when he said that, I was like, he's dead on. Like I would listen to those songs over and over and over. I would
Well,
watch them, I would listen to them with the lyrics because you know how we are, and very analytical when it comes to the music. So listen to those songs with the lyrics, man. That's the way to go. Listen to them with the lyrics right in front of you, man.
yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Well, music's always been like medicinal for me anyway, right? Like anything going back to when I played ball in high school, you put your headsets in before the game,
Right.
you put something on, you lock it in. And I'm like, Matt, now, I mean, my playlist used to be very broad. I'd listen to anything that caught my attention. It didn't matter. But
Right.
now I feel like when I'm trying to armor up, like we talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to face the world, uh, I'm not necessarily one that wants to. I read my scripture, but sometimes I just need to meditate and get in that zone. And you throw a song on
Mm-hmm.
that you get that ministry and you get it flowing and you feel God's presence, and it just sets you up for the
Absolutely.
day you can handle, man. And again, I've always
Absolutely.
felt back home music through everything that I go through or been through. Music has been my grace and my place that I go to. But there are some great
I
praise
think
and worship out there right now, man. Oh my God, it's so
it's
amazing.
happening. It is happening. I think it's awesome between the three of us, this music thing. There's something there, man. We should work on that armor up playlist and like just promote it in itself as we grow it. Because you said you like to listen to it kind of in the morning to get you going. So there's one more song, and I'm gonna, challenge you to check this one out first thing in the morning to get you going. It's called "Yesterday Is Dead."
All right,
"Yesterday
I'm
Is
gonna write
Dead"
it
by
down.
Josiah Quinn. Man,
Yesterday
that's
is
one that'll
dead.
get you going. Yesterday's dead, man. Yep, yep, yep.
Man, I'm gonna have to check that out. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop it on tomorrow morning on my ride to work. I tell you
Yes.
that, man. I'm
That's one of the
just
ones I start my day with. So
love it. Well, man, we appreciate you coming on and sharing so openly and honestly and just having the courage and the faith to do that. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your team, about your season? How's things going up there in Broome?
oh man. So yeah, so we right now we're 3-3. We start region play Friday night against crosstown rivalry Woodruff. It's gonna be a really good game. They got a really good team as well. Some good players, some playmakers. As do we. We've got our playmakers as well. And I'm expecting them to go out and do what we expect them to do. They've been having a good couple of days of practice. But the region play starts with 3-3 going into it. So I think there's an opportunity there for us to make a difference, make a change. We just got to stand up and actually do it. So I'll get you an update on what happens after all that stuff. But just before we go, man, I want to kind of, if you got a minute, Quinn. So one of my recent lessons. So when I do my Sunday night class, we do it from 5:30 till 7, and I like to do it on Sunday because a lot of people don't understand that these kids are dealing with a lot. And they're just as busy, if not busier, than most of us adults. So Wednesday, the typical day to do it, it just, in today's world for me, that just does not make sense. It's like telling them to hit the brakes, lock in, get focused, and get this word, and then go finish the week. So we do it Sunday nights. And I like to tell them, the lessons that I give you, stick it in your back pocket. And when the week starts to get hectic and the drama and turbulence start to show up, pull it out of your pocket and use this lesson. So one of the lessons we did recently was, are you following Jesus? Right? So I posed the question at the top of the lesson, are you following Jesus? And they got kind of looking around. And I said, well, in today's terms, when somebody says follow, the first thing we think is social media, right? So how many of you have social medias? And all the hands go up. I say, well, who has TikTok? Ton of hands go up. Who has Instagram? Few less hands. Who has Facebook? They bust out laughing. They say that's for the old people. So I say, okay, but we all understand that we have a social media. And my first question was, do you follow Jesus? So when we get on these social media platforms, the first thing we do is what? We start to follow people. And the main people we follow our friends first. You start looking for all your friends. Then you start to follow your family. And then you start to follow celebrities, people you look up to, whatever, whatever. And then we all start following this one group of people that are just strangers. We don't know them. We just, for whatever reason, we're following them. So we're following friends, family, celebrities, and strangers, right? So when we get on there and we follow them, we start to read their bio, right? And then we start to watch their stories and look at their posts, right? And the posts are like over a long period of time. I can post something from a long time ago, whatever. And my stories are my short period of time stuff happened recently. And after we do all that, we start to what? We start sharing content, right? So we do this. We do all these things for our friends, our family, our celebrities, and the people that we don't even know. But then I asked them again, I said, but are we following Jesus? Are we reading his bio? Are we in tune with his stories and his posts? Right? And are we sharing his content? Which goes back to us being the fishers of men, us spreading the good word, right? We'll do all these things for all these people, but they have to honestly ask themselves, are they following Jesus? And I just want to pose that question to the Armor Up listeners as well. Are y'all following Jesus? So
That's a great message, man. That really is. I recently taught my mom and dad, who's on social media, believe it or not, that you can control what you follow, right?
mhm.
If you type God in the search bar, you can God will start popping up on your Facebook or whatever you're on. So that's a good point, man. Are we following Jesus? Are we doing, are we in tune with his message? And that's great, man. I'm gonna take that away. I'm gonna steal that if you don't mind.
I do not mind at all. I don't mind at all. As a matter of fact, when we get off of here, I've got, I save all my lessons as like a slideshow to have use it as you need.
Perfect, man. Perfect. Thank you.
I love that message and the way it relates to our young people and how they obviously are all bought in on social media and followers and all that good stuff. But the way you can relate to those young people has I've, obviously it's infectious. I can feel it from the way you just taught us a lesson about are you following Jesus, man. Amazing. I'm proud of you, brother. I love you, man.
Thank you, man.
Let's
I
keep
love
in
you too,
touch.
bro.
We're gonna keep texting and keep
Will
sending
do.
music. I'm gonna pop you in a group chat on text with Phillip so we can share some music too. And then
Okay.
we got to work on an Armor Up theme song. I done told you that.
I know it. I know it. Hey, let's just we'll pray about it, and then we'll meet each other in the studio, and we know what happens after
Man,
it.
I'm so proud of you, Kinard. Thank you for joining us tonight, man. I love you, brother.
I'm proud of you too, man.
Bernard,
Love you,
great to meet you. Thank you for the words, man.
brother
Thank you for
Phillip. Till
coming
next
on.
time. All right.
We'll
Yes,
have you
sir, brother.
back on in the
Appreciate you,
future, no
man. Good luck
doubt.
the rest of the season, too.
To recap the devotion, I know we talked a lot about making a difference, but I do want to recap the locker room challenge. Find a way to make a difference in somebody's life this week. Big, small, doesn't matter what you think the impact is, but affect somebody's life positively. Be a difference maker. Be a positive light. Let your light shine, like Philip's verse, and I know he's going to share it here in a second, but I'll go ahead and share 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. I'm going to use my gifts to make graphics, to somewhat edit videos. I think I'm somewhat decent at that by this point. I'm going to use my gift of coaching to affect young people's lives through the game of football. I'm going to do that and use those gifts that God has given me to try to affect others.
Yeah, and my verse was Matthew 5:13 through 16. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds, and glorify your Father in heaven. And yeah, Matt, I mean, for me, I think making a difference, again, opening up about my story and talking about some things that, at some local churches and speaking events, the Lord's kind of leading me in that direction. Um, Again, I've always took command. I've been center stage. I've been the life of the party. I've been the class clown. I mean, I was that guy that if you were in the bar, we were going to have a good time. And but this has kind of been different. I've really had to pray about this because it's not something that I really want to talk about, but it can make a difference. And if that's what God needs me to do, then that's what I'm going to do. So, speaking to people, trying to be helpful in any way that I can, giving back to the community, and just helping anybody any way that I can. Again, you don't have to be a millionaire to help people, man.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, Philip, and what you just said made it pop out to me again. We can use our gifts for good or we can waste them. And you have a gift of being the center of attention, the life of the party, or whatever. So use that for good now, like you are. Super proud of you. I know we talk all the time, but I don't think I say that enough. Proud of you for being able to open up and step out into a church setting and share your testimony. I can't wait to see and hear about that.
It's going to be, it's going to be interesting. Again, I told Richie Yao when he called me and asked me, I said, I'm not a speaker, right? I'm not a preacher. I'm not a speaker. I'm not any of that. He said, I didn't ask for a speaker and I didn't ask for a preacher. I asked for Philip Leviner to come talk about his life. And when he said that, well, okay, I think I can do that. And I sometimes wonder why my story is interesting. I guess I've lived it, and it didn't seem all that interesting to me at the time when I was doing it, and the things that I did, and uh, you know, I guess when I look at my life, I know I wasn't like I didn't kill anybody, I didn't do anything crazy like that, but there was just a lot of my life where I was just not giving what I needed to give credit to. I would call on God when things were bad, but when things were good, I would never give God credit. You kind of like Nikita Koloff said, it was always Phillip did this and Phillip did that when I was here. But when I was down here, it was like, oh, God, help me. And then when God didn't answer me, it's like, okay, well, forget you, God. You're not there for me when I need you. It was always an excuse. And I think now that I've come to realize that being a Christian is a lot like living life. You got to own it. You got to take responsibility. There's accountability for your actions. There's responsibility for things that you do and things that you say. It came full circle for me. And, we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm loving where I'm at in life. And I'll tell you one more quick story and we'll move on. But we were fishing this weekend and we had drifted into some calm seas and some dolphins started coming up. Beautiful, man. Just God's work right there. And I started filming the dolphins and I didn't realize it at the time. I was listening to the video later and my son, my 7-year-old Paxton said, I love this life I'm living. And when I listened to that video, it brought tears to my eyes because I too am now loving my life that I'm living with my kids and my family, with clarity in my mind, with love in my heart. I remember everything that happened this weekend because I did not drink. I wasn't hungover, and those moments now mean more to me than I can possibly imagine because all of the ones that I lost living in the world and not living the way I should have. So, yes, I'm loving the life I'm living too, quoted by Paxton Leviner.
Love that. We've got kids popping up all in this episode with quotes, with cameos. It has been awesome, man, and really excited to make a difference this week. Again, our golf tournament, Green River Country Club. If you're not signed up to play or you're not signed up to sponsor just yet, we still have a little bit of time. This episode's coming out on Wednesday. We're playing on Saturday. We can still get you in there last second. We still have a few more spots available for sponsors and players. Come join us. Come hang out with us. It's going to be a good time, good fellowship with the guys, and just excited to see a bunch of people and play some golf.
Just remember, we are drawing the teams live Friday night at Oslo's. If you want to come out, you do not have to be present. We like to do that in front of everybody so nobody can say that we pre-rank the teams. We draw that live in front of everybody. So come out if you want it to be 6 p.m. in Oslo's, get you something good to eat. And then meet us at Green River Country Club. Tee-off's at 9. Registration starts at 8. So we look forward to seeing everybody there.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. I will unfortunately not be able to be at the drawing. There'll be something I have to do at about 7 p.m. I'll probably be calling some plays or something like that around that time. So that'll lead us right into high school football. The recap from last week, man. Who was making a difference on the field last week? We called out some games last week. We had our games of the week. First one we'll talk about Wilson and Hartsville. Wilson was 4-1, Hartsville 1-3. We mentioned, would this be the turning point for Hartsville? Could they turn their season around right here? They did. They come out with a big win, 27-21. Region matchup. You can't ever count Hartsville out no matter what the record says. So they handled business against Wilson. The next one, Gray Collegiate in North Augusta. Gray Collegiate came out on fire. I listened to this game live on the radio because it was our bye week. Listened to my brother's game. Gray Collegiate came out on fire. They had a freshman quarterback that had to step in and start in his first game in high school because of an injury or whatever. He was a difference maker. He was prepared. Gray Collegiate comes out with a win, 41-27. North Augusta falls to 5-1. Still don't count North Augusta out. They're a good football team. Gray Collegiate is a good football team. So that could be a rematch that we could see, maybe third, fourth round of the playoffs in the 4A playoffs. Yeah. So, another one, Hannah Pamplico and Johnsonville, that rivalry there that we talked about. Johnsonville takes care of business 28-7. And then we'll go into our games of the week. We both picked our homer picks, and we both – maybe we shouldn't do that no more. Maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. Burns fell to Dorman 33-21 reports, and I watched some of the highlights and talked to some of the coaches. Dorman defensively was on fire and took care of the running back. And the running back at Burns, great player, but they held him to like less than 100 yards. So they ended up winning the game 33-21. And then your game of the week was a region matchup, Central and Sherrall. And we talked about the implications this could have for the region championship. Central is in the driver's seat. They don't have it locked in, but they are in the
Yeah,
driver's seat.
look,
They
that was a
win
dogfight, man.
34-27. Yeah, I was texting you because we were following the game, and at one
Yeah, I
point,
was keeping up with it.
it was like 20-3 or
Yeah, 20
20
to
to
7 at the
7.
half.
Yeah, 20-7. Straw was down. Then they claw back in it and fight back and take the lead. And then Central comes back and takes the lead and finishes it out 34-27. I loved what Coach Eason said at the end. He said, our kids are playing for something bigger. They're playing for Sean Davis, which we talked about that before, like the motivation that they
Yeah,
have behind that.
it's hard for me to be upset for their motivation and their purpose of what they played for. I was glad that I knew it was going to be a good game. Sherrall didn't quit. They could have very easily done it at halftime. They got back in, was leading at the end of the third quarter. Uh, Paisley dug a little deeper and found a way to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
And again, they that does put them in the driver's seat. Still kind of early in the season. Who knows what can happen? Sherrall still got a good opportunity to, run the table out and at least finish second. If not, if Central does slip, who knows what happens? But the ultimate goal is to get in the playoffs. So season's definitely not over. Definitely got a lot left, but that did hurt a little bit. I really wanted that win for those guys. They put a lot of work in, but hey, man, when you play those region matchups like that, that's the kind of games you get sometimes.
A region matchup,
Congratulations.
a region matchup, a county rivalry. I think the people in attendance got their money's worth for sure in
Oh,
that
yeah.
game. Moving into the college games that we called out last week, we had Indiana and Iowa. Indiana, are they the real deal? They didn't score 63 this time. They scored 20, but they still beat Iowa 20-15. Alabama, Georgia, we talked about, was this a potential playoff elimination game for Alabama? What a game there. Alabama is not out of it. Alabama wins 24-21. Washington and Ohio State. Washington was undefeated coming into this. Ohio State still hanging on to that number one ranking. They win 24-6. And then the game of the week that I selected was LSU and Ole Miss. And we talked about Lane Kiffin and his play calling, and I love watching it. And I watched this whole game. 24-19 Ole Miss win. Loved the play call, since we talked about it last week. The play call on fourth down to go for it to seal the deal instead of punting and having to play some defense. Fourth and short, Lane Kiffin elects to go for it. He knows if he gets a first down, they're going to win the game. They're going to run the clock out, and they run a little tight end drag and the wide open, well designed play. Really, really fun matchup to watch there. LSU was ranked number 4. Don't know how far they'll fall, but again, it's the SEC, so we'll see how they finish out the year. And then your game of the week, another wild game, a double overtime game, Oregon and Penn State. Oregon takes care of business 30-24.
Yeah, that was a good matchup. I kind of caught a little bit of that off on. Again, we had some plans this weekend, so I didn't really get to watch anything like I wanted to fully. Lane Kiffin, obviously, really happy for him to get that signature win and maybe get Ole Miss into the playoffs this year, and that'll set him up to come coach Florida next year. So, but the Oregon Penn State game, I was wanting to see if Oregon could hold, play some stout competition. Great game, obviously 2 overtimes. So, again, a lot of season left. Ohio State still sitting at the top. Who knows what's going to happen? We do know that Clemson and Florida is definitely not going to be in the playoffs. We know that for a fact. South Carolina is edging their way out of the playoffs. So if you're from the South Carolinas and the Clemsons and the Floridas, still pull your team through, but you may want to find another team for the playoffs.
Probably a good call at this point, Phillip. Probably a good call. Moving into week 6, high school matchups. We have Loris and Dillon. Loris and Dillon with a huge region matchup.
That is.
Loris is playing unbelievably right now. Dillon has 2 losses, but to respectable losses, but this is huge implications on their region. Obviously, you can't count Marlboro County out of that. I think those three teams in that region is really, really tough in that 3A division. We have Carvers Bay and Latta. And Latta's playing some good football right now. Carvers Bay, historically a good program. We have Hartsville and Lower Richland. Okay. Another region matchup for Hartsville. They started their turnaround. Do they continue that? Do they hold on? Do they build off of that last win from last week over Wilson? We have Sherrall and Andrew Jackson, another big region matchup. Andrew Jackson, we'll see. I mean, nothing is solidified. You know, you can't play the game on paper, as they say, Phillip. And then we have North Central and Chesterfield. This will be Chesterfield's first region game. They had a bye week last week, so they can step into the region play and see what happens. It's also homecoming at Chesterfield, so shout out to those guys over there. Nick Dixon's first homecoming as the head coach. It's going to be a big event for them as they host North Central for their first region game of the year. What are you thinking?
Yeah, again, I'm not gonna, I got my feelings about the Sherrall game. Definitely not gonna take that as my game of the week. I've been seeing Nick a good bit at breakfast up there at Gardner Boys. I think I'm going with them this week, man. I want to see Nick for the homecoming, and they have a golf tournament on this Friday. We have one on Saturday, so we're gonna be in Chesterfield playing. So I'm gonna take the Golden Rams and the North Central game this week as mine.
That's a good pick. Tough matchup for them, but we'll see how it comes out. North Central, very good opponent, very good coach over there, and Coach Sisk.
Yeah.
We did drop that game last year at Chesterfield, so Chesterfield kind of looking for some revenge there a little bit as well. I'm going to go with Loris and Dillon as my game of the week. Who's going to be the region champion coming out of that region? Again, you can't count Marlboro out, but I do think this would put Loris or Dillon in the driver's seat, so to speak. So Loris and Dillon for me.
Yeah, I want to have them boys ready too. You can never count Dillon out, right?
No.
I mean, they're like a Hartsville, man.
Yeah.
Their record doesn't probably show how well they've played because they do have two really quality losses. So I would not take that and kind of measure what's going to happen Friday night. Although Loris is playing really good football, so great pick. Looking forward to that. I know Kelvin really good, so going to wish him some luck Friday night. So
yeah, Loris undefeated. Dillon has 2 losses to Wilson and to Scotland, but 2 very tight games. Both of them came down to the wire. So I think that's something that we've talked about as a staff. Like, Dillon gets better as the year goes on. Like, they find a way to coach their kids up, and that's a credit to Coach Roller and his staff. They find their weaknesses and they fix them and they correct them and they keep building and they keep building. So as the season gets later, Dillon seems to be better every year, and especially when playoff times hit, like, you're always like, Dillon might be able to make a push. So excited for that matchup to see what happens coming out of that. We'll move to college football for week 6. Got 4 games to call out for you here, Phillip. Number 16, Vanderbilt, 5-0, playing number 10, Alabama, 3-1. What a game, right?
That was this week.
Yeah, Vandy won it last year.
Got him last year. You sure did.
Vandy is on a heater right now, 5-0. So excited to see that one. You've got number 3, Miami, playing number 18, Florida State. Miami 4-0, Florida State 3-1. Florida interstate matchup there. 24, Virginia. Virginia sitting at 4-1. Big win last week for Virginia. Beat Florida State late. Really proud of Virginia because my former teammate is a coach up there, an assistant coach up there, Coach Joey Ork, fraternity brother and former teammate from Presbyterian College. So excited to see how they keep this thing rolling, but they're playing a 4-0 Louisville team, and Louisville unranked but are favored by the experts. Then you have Iowa State and Cincinnati. Iowa State, number 14 in the country, sitting at 5-0. Cincinnati sitting at 3-1. Again, you got 2 matchups there where the unranked team is favored, and it's always raises the eyebrows a little bit. What you think there, Phillip?
Oh man, I really want to go and see what's going to happen down in Florida. I was a believer in Florida State there for a minute, and then they didn't look as well against Virginia, or did Virginia play to what they're capable of doing? I guess we'll kind of find out this week with both of them, right? You know, you're going to see Virginia if they can sustain that, and if Florida State can bounce back. Miami's on a good run, but I am interested in the Vanderbilt game. I like the quarterback at Vanderbilt a lot, man. He's such a good player. But I think I'm gonna have to stick in the ACC this week. I'm gonna go Florida State, Miami.
Florida State, Miami. Did
From
you ever?
John Lane, a good friend of mine, talked to him a lot. He's a big Miami fan, so I'll throw that up for him this week.
Oh
That's the
boy,
only time you'll
did
see
you
me do
ever
that.
think, Phillip, that as a diehard Florida Gator fan, that you would be picking Miami and Florida State in your game of the week?
Look, man, Miami's beat us the last 2 years. We beat Florida State last year, so I'm really kind of hoping Florida State beats Miami, even though I pulled for Miami in that one for John, and then we beat Florida State. That'll way to be three-way tie.
Man, I
He's
mean,
going to support John. He's always
look,
so nice when we play each other. He's never like a junk talker, so
Phillip,
I need to support him back.
I know that God is a miracle worker. But you know that Florida win that you talked about. I mean, you're praying for miracles, and I'm not saying that he can't do it, but come on,
Virginia
man,
beat.
come on, come on. I'm gonna go with. I'm sure you probably expected me to go with the Vanderbilt Alabama game, and I am.
Yeah,
Vanderbilt.
I
Last time I
left.
picked them
I
as the
left
game
the.
of the week, they won. So
Was it
I gotta
anchors
keep it
down? Is that
rolling.
what y'all do? Anchors down.
Anchor down, baby,
Yeah.
anchor down. Vanderbilt 5-0. Diego Pavia, quarterback, playing unbelievable football. Clark Lee, head coach there, has made a tremendous change within that program, and the way he leads that program has been awesome to watch. So really excited for that game. Never thought I would see, a Vanderbilt team ranked 16th and playing against Alabama and coming off a win over Alabama. So a lot of firsts here. So hopefully Vanderbilt can keep this thing rolling. I'm definitely rooting for them in this matchup. Not that I dislike Alabama, but I mean I played at Vandy, so got to go with that one.
Well, it makes it even more interesting that Alabama was able to bounce back and beat Georgia. That lets you know that they're not done yet. So this has the potential to be a really really good football game.
We're going to see at the high school level and the college level this week who will make a difference, right? Your pick for high school game of the week, North Central Chesterfield. My pick, Loris and Dillon. And then for the college games, you have Miami and Florida State, and I have Vanderbilt and Alabama. Let's see who can make a difference this week, Phillip. Recap, Make a Difference, Episode 8. 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Whatever gift you have. So I'm going to use whatever gifts that I feel God has given to me to kind of let that light shine and be a difference maker. Phillip?
I'm gonna just leave them with the last one. My verse we said it's tough, but I'm gonna leave you with Matthew 5:16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Be a light, man. Let your light shine. Do good things, do good deeds, make a difference in somebody's life. Words of encouragement. We talked about the locker room challenge, guys. Just go out there and make a difference, man. Be positive. That's what it talks about. Glorify Jesus, glorify our Christianity faith. I can't say it enough, man. People just need encouragement sometimes. You never know how you're going to affect somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Be a difference maker this week. Locker room challenge. Make a difference some way, somehow. Doesn't always have to be financially. It can be small things, random acts of kindness that can affect someone's life. You never know what somebody's going through. So try to be a way to be a light. This little light of mine,
I'm
I'm
going to
going to
let
let
it
it shine.
plant a
So,
seed, man. Plant a seed.
amen. Amen. Well, Phillip, we'll close us out in prayer if you're ready.
Hit it.
Dear Lord, we ask that you let us be a light this week. Let us make a difference. Let our armor heads make a difference in somebody's life. Let us use our gifts that you have given us to encourage others, to influence others, to lead others to you, Lord. We pray for safety over all of our athletes and coaches. We pray that you keep our schools safe. We pray that you keep our communities safe. We pray for the tragedies that have happened around the world and specifically in Pageland as well, Lord. Thank you for everything that you've done for us and everything you're going to do for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Take a minute, guys. Take a second. Remember Pageland this week and then that family and that community.
Thank you, guys. Armor Heads, we love you. Go Jesus.
Go Jesus.